land, if you want to buy land, if you have a house, if you have an apartment complex, if you have a building, commercial building, if you are a builder, if you want to become a builder, if you are an architect, want to become an architect, right? This absolutely is the session for you. The session is about built environment. It sounds a little hazy, sounds complicated, and that is the reason why I am going to sit along with you and listen into our Director General, Mr. Sajid Sadak, who will be chairing this session. So just to see the graphics, the chair, we kind of did a little bit of swap. So Sajid Sadak will be chairing the session, and Naveed Khan, who is also the co-convener of this event. He is the Global Service Director of Arcadis. I think I will let Sajid Bhai to better introduce him. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I request all of you who are at the back to move to the front seats. Can you please move to the front seats?
Gentlemen, can we give it up for Mr. Fahim, please? A big round of applause for Fahim, sir, for taking up the dice whenever required. So, are you guys hungry? Yes? Sleepy? Tired? No? I can see few people giving no reaction for anything. But I just want to check how attentive you guys are. Okay? So, when I say one, you got to clap once. When I say two, clap twice. When I say three, clap 3 times. When I say 4, clap 4 times accordingly. 1. No, what is this? No swaram, ragam, nothing. 1 at a time, okay? 1. That's good. 2. 2. Perfect, sir. 2. 3. 3. 4. 2. 1. 3, 4. Sir, super, sir. You're super energetic. Good to see you like this. So the hall is completely brisky and attentive, and I'm so happy in welcoming Mr. Sajid Satak, Director General UEF MD, Inno Advisory Private Limited, Co-Chair RICS, Crescent Center of Excellence. With big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Sajid Satak on the stage. A big round of applause. Ellarume seindi kai tattanonu artham. Yeah? Thank you. So he's going to be the moderator for this session. And the speakers are Mr. Niranjan Shanmugasundaram, Executive MD, VICM Consultant, India Private Limited. A big round of applause for Mr. Niranjan Shanmugasundaram. Next on stage, I'd like to call upon Dr. M.S. Haji Sheikh Mohammed, Professor of Civil Engineering, Dean School of Infrastructure, Director Center of Prevention and Control of Corrosion. A big round of applause for Mr. Haji Sheikh Mohammed Avargal. And next on stage, I'd like to call upon Mr. Naveed Khan. A big round of applause for Mr. Naveed Khan, Global Service Director, Arcadis. So here, we're going to have interesting session. Over to the stalwarts.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all. I hope you all had lunch. Okay, good. So we're going to have a very interesting session over here. It's a section on built environment. So basically, nobody can say that you're not relevant or this session is not relevant to you, because all of us need some manner, whatever the places we live, the places we work, irrespective of whatever, let's say, sector or domain that you belong to, all of us are dependent on built environment sector. It's never looked at one whole sector. We have like real estate business, we call it construction, related facility management or whatever. But the fact is that they all are part of one sector called the built environment sector. So if you look at housing or office space or shopping, you go to a mall or you go to a hotel. Um, Otherwise, also the urban infrastructure that you build bridges, roads, dams, airports, ports. So you get it, so it covers almost every aspect of every life. So therefore, the built environment sector, in my opinion, not that we are from the built environment sector, we're saying this. This is the fundamental infrastructure. This is the fundamental need, I would say, for urbanization, for human development. But unfortunately, let's say this sector has been fragmented. We have so many professions, but they don't collaborate together. Each one does their own role. So it's basically because of that, this sector has not been taken seriously, I would say, as a sector. I would like to introduce now, so this is what we are trying to solve is this problem because there's a shortage of expertise. There's a shortage of, I would say, organized funding, and there's a shortage of best practices, in the sector, especially in India. Globally, this sector has matured quite a lot, thanks to organizations like RICS. So what is RICS? RICS stands for Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. It is a bit of a misnomer because this organization was founded in the UK in 1868. At that time, the only profession, at least the terminology, was called surveyors. There was no concept of engineers, there was no concept of architects, and so on. So anybody who was there in this construction sector or the real estate sector was called a surveyor. But then this organization carried on to take all the professions inside. So today you have the leading architects of the world, the leading engineers, the construction engineers of the world, the leading facility management of the world, the leading real estate business professionals and businesses, leading funding agencies, which fund into the real estate sector and the infrastructure sector and everything, leading, I would say, port developers, airport, everything. They're all part of this organization called RICS. So what RICS does is what I'm going to explain to you first, and I'll tell you what is the relevance of RICS to us. So as I said, challenges in the built environment today, a shortage of skilled professionals, limited exposure to global best practices. This is in context of the Indian context. And there's lack of innovation. And then most importantly, fragmented academic industry connect. So as let's say we have architecture courses, and you have engineering courses, engineering field, you have civil engineering, you have mechanical engineering, you have electrical engineering. Although they study 4 or 5 years, each of these courses, architecture is 5 years and engineering is 4 years. When the students come out of the college, they do not have, I would say, hands-on experience in handling a project and so on. So when they join their jobs, there's always a disconnect, and there's a training period which the company has to put in. And even the training, they just learn on the job. It's not a structured kind of a training. So it takes at least 5 to 6 years, before an engineer starts getting productive, an architect starts getting productive. So it depends on their own creativity and their own learning capacity. They come up somehow. But then and it's only a small percentage of the professionals come up to a higher level of in any organization. That is something that we are trying to change. So this is what RICS is. It sets global standards, land, property, construction, and infrastructure. They are present in over 150 countries, and total membership of 130,000 members worldwide. And I'm talking about all leading professionals. Any top real estate company or construction company in the world, the managing director and the chairman and the managing director of these companies, the top directors, are all RICS certified professionals. So as I said, it's globally respected qualification. So these are the qualifications. You have ASOC and MRICS, and then you have FRICS, which is not mentioned here. So myself and Niranjan are MRICSs. So we have been members almost for 18 years now, since RICS came to India. They came to India in 2008. Since then, both of us are members. So Niranjan is in project management as well as quantity surveying. And Dr. Haji Sheikh As I said, he's the Dean of Crescent School of Infrastructure. He's a civil engineer. And Mr. Naveed Khan, he's the director of Arcadis, which is the largest design consultancy firm in the world. Okay, it's the equivalent of, I would say, a PwC or Ernst & Young in the construction and the real estate industry. So we have an eminent panel of speakers over here. So these are the future pillars that RICS is going to address: is sustainability, lifelong learning, technology, and ethics. So these are the pillars of RICS. Next one. So anyway, I think we've dealt on all of this. I think we can dive into the session right now. Can you do the next slide? Okay. So I think I'll begin with Haji Sheikh sir. Okay, because that's the root of the problem that we're trying to address over here.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Mr. Saji sir very nicely comprised what is built environment. I just want to add, first we have to understand what is built environment. Even if you Google it out. Built environment is nothing but a physical infrastructure created for the human beings. The physical infrastructure can be a mall, park, bridge, buildings, or any facilities attached for the human beings that physically created, that we called as built environment. So now we are seeing a lot of infrastructure is coming out. Then what is the issue in it? Why we are very much concerned about the taking care of the built environment? So built environments in comprising of lot of aspects. We have to be very careful in the design of all the physical infrastructure, in the design concept itself, even in the construction practices, execution, then facilities management, and overall maintenance until its demolition. It is our responsibility. So why we are responsible is, all these operations consumes a lot of energy. Suppose we have to understand 1 ton of production of cement, we are emitting 1 ton of carbon dioxide to this world. 1 ton of. If I am consuming 1 ton of cement for my house, I am responsible for 1 ton of emission of carbon dioxide to the world, globe. So we are very, very responsible. Now infrastructure development is going in a very, very faster phase. Just like that, I cannot consume. Just like that, since I have money, I cannot do whatever I want. I am responsible. So this built environment, what we are emphasizing is, we have to use these all energy resources very, very responsibly. I have to design such a manner that I am using less energy for the building. I am choosing such a material, such a way that it is sustainable. It is sustainable and it involves less carbon emission. If I do all the construction activities such a way that it is foolproof and less energy consumption, and if I do all the activities during the operation stage of the building, then again it involves less energy. So if you take care of all these aspects from starting from the design concept stage to the demolition stage, then total energy consumption will be very, very less, or sometimes we are aiming for the net zero energy level. So before going to that, I want to make the audience interesting. Whether the building is alive or not. Human beings, we are alive. Whether the buildings alive or not alive. It's alive. It's alive. All the buildings are designed for some designed life. Life means it is alive. All the residential buildings, we are designing for 50 years or 75 years. That means 75 years it is alive. So in the classroom, we used to always compare the building with the human beings. We used to say, for understanding of the students, like flesh and bone, we have in the building concrete and steel. So we have to take care of all this material. So for the human being, what we are doing, so from the childhood, we are taking care. After brought up, after 20 years only, some problems will come. We are taking some action. So if you maintain health record very, very perfectly, there is a longevity in the life. Like that only in all the buildings and infrastructure, nowadays what is happening? Just the construction is done, then it is left to the client. After that, no care. After that, no care. Somebody will maintain. So this will totally will change in the future. Totally will change. So for that only, that building management, building technology management, that concept is evolving. So I have to take care of every aspect in the building construction during the construction stage. Even after construction stage itself, if I digitize all the data will be given to the client. From the data, the client can maintain the facilities such a way that whenever this AI technologies and other things will give interruption then and there, so that if I do repair, maintain in such a manner that the building's expected design life will come perfectly. So that in all these processes, I am using the energy responsibly or sometimes net zero level. So this is the basic context of this forum.
Thank you, sir. I think you've given all the information from all of us, I think. Very well covered. By the way, Haji Sheikh sir, although he's an academician today, he had an earlier avatar as a built environment professional. That's why you haven't heard anything from the academic side from him. So you heard all about, what happens in the industry, what happens in the practice. But I would also like to discuss with you on the academic side of things in the later part of the session. So in the meantime, I think I'd like to ask a question to Niranjan. So Niranjan, you've been in the field of, I would say, the built environment sector for a very long time in various avatars. I knew as a quantity survey initially 18 years ago when we first met, and then from there on you transitioned into project management consultant. I mean, you always, let's say, engineering at the core has always been your passion. And today you're advising international funds when they acquire assets over here. So tell me a little bit about what you do and about your association with RICS and how it has benefited in your professional growth.
Thanks, Ajit. Thanks, panel. It was an interesting journey, I would say, for last 30 years that I have been in this field of quantity surveying, having little mature from what a quantity surveying domain is. I've traveled through project management practice, have supported various infra investors and the built environment investors coming to India, where I do substantial technical due diligence to them. Technical due diligence, I mean both technical as well as the commercial due diligence. My journey is I started as quantity surveyor, I would say, as a basic civil engineer, where quantity surveying profession was as a practice being inducted, I would say, by my engagement with Southeast Asian countries, particularly Singapore and Malaysia, where the quantity surveying practice was well established. Whereas India at that point in time did not had a structured curriculum. We did not have universities teaching quantity surveying as a practice. And even today, you have very seldom, you have probably Amity universities and NICMAR institutions probably are the two notable institutions that teach quantity surveying as a subject. Else what happens is in your regular curriculum you have quantity surveying 1 and quantity surveying 2 as two separate papers, and there is no depth of such the study into the curriculum, precisely because I would say the English has left India a little early compared to our neighboring countries, where with Sri Lanka and a few other Southeast Asian countries had QS as a practice been brought in by English, I would say. In the Second World War II, post 1942 to 50, the necessity of quantity surveys has come in at large because of the destruction that happened at a large scale, where you had people to come in and measure, come in and do contracts, come in and do the reconciliation processes, etc. So this was quite instrumental as such for various countries to establish in 1950 this particular curriculum as a mainstream of education into the system. Unfortunately, India lost that as such, I would see. So we had to depend on our neighboring countries to even get ourselves groomed into this domain of quantity surveying. I would say what quantity surveying is in short. We are the people who are custodian of the cost for any construction that happens. Right from budgeting the project, be it an infrastructure or a building, and try to have the complete chain of activities right from design, procurement to construction. We stand as a watchdog for the cost. So by doing that, the client has a cost certainty at every stage of the project. He knows what the cost to complete is going to be, what are the red flags that he will have. There may be predominant design changes that may come in, there may be a predominant procurement practice changes that may come in. So we stand as a watchdog. I don't just stand for the cost and just monitor the number. I also ensure that I provide a proper formulation of a procurement strategy, proper structuring of a contract, so that there are no loopholes. The risks are getting mitigated by the quantity surveyor through and through, right from the stage that I do budget to the project completion. So RICS, as Sajid was pointing out, very is instrumental in bringing this practice live in India. I was fortunate to get myself acquainted to my colleagues in Singapore and Malaysia who had this practice well established over there. So it was just like that I got that knowledge transfer happened. But for my colleagues that when I work with, I had seen that the struggle that they undergo in the absence of curriculum, which actually should groom you, because products are coming out as civil engineers and mechanical engineers and electrical engineers who doesn't have a flair of what a quantity surveying practice is as such. So RICS was very instrumental in trying to have a balance to this, and they had a phenomenal, I wouldn't say curriculum, they had partnered with Amity, and now there's a fantastic partnership they are having with Crescent, which we are trying to take forward. It is going to go bounce and leap, I would say, with respect to the knowledge with respect to what this industry absolutely requires. When the volume of business is growing high, when the volume of investments are going high, there should be someone who needs to be a custodian of cost, someone needs to be a custodian of time. Your time overrun and cost overrun is going to cost the project phenomenally, and the life what we spoke about the building, it doesn't have any meaning when you don't have these two things rightly at the right time when during the phase of the construction. As you rightly pointed out, on the entire eco cycle, the land gets developed, you get built, the built product gets maintained for a year, then after its utilization of 50 to 100 years, it gets demolished, goes back to land, and then the construction happens. The phase that we are involved in is only about probably 5 to 10% or not more than that, but we need to be super cautious to have a well-established practice in place so that the rest of the ecosystem doesn't get disturbed.
Thank you, Niranjan. So that is what RIC has done, is a custodian of the entire process from design till the end of life cycle. Okay, now over to Naveed. So Naveed is leading a global team of, your particular function, Program Project Management of Arcadis. Arcadis, as I said, is the world's largest design consultancy and project management firm. So they are present in, I don't know, probably 90 countries, and they have a total employee strength of about over 40,000 people and all that. And Naveed is heading globally one of their verticals. So earlier, in his earlier assignment as a director of projects, so he had, let's say, he was responsible to the construction and the interiors of, all the major banks, Citibank, name it, Barclays, RBS, the list can go on, HSBC and all these banks. So he's worked also globally. He actually did his master's in the UK, and then from there, he came back to India to head he was actually employed by Arcadis in the UK, and he came back to India to take over their Indian operations over here. He was heading the Indian operations for a very long time. Now he's taken a global role. So Naveed, in your experience, in Arcadis, in this built environment profession, and now that you are a global head, for this vertical, you must be hiring a lot of people, right? Various, I would say, competencies. you'll be hiring architects, you'll be hiring engineers, again, civil, mechanical, electrical. Not many people know that mechanical and electrical engineers are also part of the built environment sector. Even the mechanical engineers themselves don't know they are the part of this sector. By the way, I'll come back to that later. So, of course, you'll be hiring quantity surveyors, project managers, and so on. But you told me that, you're not interested in hiring freshers, because I've been trying to get Naveed to hire earlier in my role in Miyasi, as well as, in my role now in Crescent. Well, by the way, I'm the advisor for the Crescent Business School, and now I'm the co-chair of RICS Center of Excellence for the Built Environment. So I would always ask Naveed, why aren't you hiring freshers from the colleges? And I think Naveed will give the answer for that, whatever you answered me before here.
Thank you very much for putting me on the spot, Sajid bhai. I thought I'll give a lovely introduction about myself, but the first question itself is in a very dangerous territory. You know what, never been a panel with a numbers man and a researcher, because they've already done the entire job of what the session is all going to be. But yeah, see, Arcadis is called as a build environment consultancy. It's not an architectural consultancy or a quantity surveying consultancy or a design consultancy. We do all of that, and it kind of matches very well with the session, right? It all comes under built environment. So you can't single out, like the professor here said, a building is active and it is alive. So built environment is the right terminology to be used. And also, when we speak in Arcadis, it's never about the buildings, how much cement are we using, how much steel are we using, and all of that. It's about improving the quality of life. That's what we tell our clients. So it's never, so this is means to an end, right? You build something to get there. But the quality of life of a human being has to get improved. If that's not happening, what is the point in these walls and structures, these wonders of the world, if the individuals within the building are not happy? Now, coming back to Sajid Bhai's question, I mean, all the freshers here don't hate me for this. It's not that we don't hire freshers. There is very much a program within Arcadis for that. It's just that when the requests are made, we don't have that 3-year cycle where we put the freshers through. And also, what RICS, bodies like RICS, what they do for us is, see, we hire people from all over the world, right? The different syllabuses, the different subjects, and all of that. What RICS does is they put all of them in an equal platform. So I finished my bachelor's in Chennai. I went and did my master's in Kingston in London. But when I went there, I had a few things that I'm not confident about. So I would go to a body like RICS. They have multiple courses there. If I say, oh, you know what, my planning and scheduling subject is not that great. I mean, I'm a great architect. I can design stuff. But you know what, I cannot schedule very well. I can go to RICS, get myself enrolled in a planning and scheduling course or a quantity surveying course for that matter, and get better. So this is kind of an upskilling pathway that RICS provides. And Arcadis, I'm very, very proud to tell you that we have been associated with RICS for, I don't know, almost like 50, 60 years. Arcadis is about 120-year-old company. We have 35,000 people all over the world. And RICS is a great partner in every single part of the world. I'm so happy that now it's being done in Crescent in Chennai, our own Chennai. So we don't have to go very far. It's right in our doorstep.
Thank you, Naveed. So I'd like to come back on, let's say, the components of this built environment sector with a very small example. Let's say you want to build a building like this. Where do you start? I'll come back to that later where we start. The next step is to find an architect, right? You first architect, you ask them to design. By the way, Naveed is an architect. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. He's everything. He's also a project manager, and he's also a valuation and everything. So you start with an architect. Then the architect does the design and all that. And then you bring the structural engineer to see if what the architect has designed can be, let's say, practically constructed or not. Then the civil engineer comes in and they do all the planning and all that. Of course, you engage the contractor. And then the civil engineer, he brings in, or the main contractor, he brings in the mechanical engineer, the electrical engineer and all that. to design the entire building, along with the architect, of course. And then once everything is ready, you start constructing. When you construct, you have to bring in the project managers, to manage, and then quantity surveys and so on, and it goes on. Once the building is completed, you need facility managers, to manage this whole thing. Most of the facility managers have a mechanical or electrical background, by the way. Now, to bring all this together, you require money, right? So there's funding which is required. Somebody has to do a valuation. So this too has nothing to do with engineering or architecture. But without them, you can't start. Yeah? And this goes on. So facility management, they manage the business and so on. You need to have accountants and everything to take care of, where the money is going to come from, where it's going to be spent and all that. So much is involved. Now, bringing all this together is management, meaning a business school, for example. I'm just saying that I'm talking this discipline, right? So but who puts everything together? It's an entrepreneur, right? Okay, one thing you're missing out. Without land, you can't construct. You need to go and scout land. So who checks whether the land records are right or not, whether the land has a proper title or not? The lawyers. So we've covered so many. You've covered legal, we've covered business, architecture, civil, mechanical, electrical engineering, finance. We've covered so much. One more thing is the public policy. You have rules, you have regulations. When you build you have the planning, for example. The state planning authorities. There you have the public policy, which addresses that. So, for one sector, you need the management, architecture, civil, mechanical, electrical engineering, law, and public policy. This is what we are doing at the Crescent Center of Excellence for the Built Environment, bringing in all these schools. So Crescent has a unique position of having all these schools in one campus. And we have the entrepreneurship development as well. Parvi sir. So all of this is happening at Crescent. And probably among, I would say, the institutions I know, including IIT or IIM and so many other universities, having all these ingredients in one place is only Crescent. However, why this hasn't happened is because all these institutions, all these schools are working in silos. They don't mix with each other. The professors don't meet each other. Am I right, sir? The students don't meet each other. So if you want to do a project, they all have to come together. But by grace of God, we are very fortunate at Crescent. We have Haji Sheikh sir as the Dean of Infrastructure, and we have Jayalakshmi ma'am who's architecture, and then Srinivasan sir is the Dean of Business. So these three people, they all have a professional background before they became academicians. So they understand exactly, what should be done. So they have come together. In fact, now it's between them. They're going to drive this center. Slowly, we'll be adding other schools as well. That's what we're working on. So this is going to be a center, not just for education. We're also trying to solve the problems of the industry. So we are bringing in industry experts like Niranjan, architect, Naveed, and all these people into this to create an ecosystem over here. And in future, we'll be taking up projects, even consultancy projects for large projects. I'm not talking about just buildings. It could be we could be solving urban problems and all of that. We can bring in the School of Public Policy, for example, to look at the regulatory side of things and so on. So all these schools are going to come together to solve not only the skill gap that exists today in the academia, but also to solve the problems in the industry. So Haji Sheikh sir, I said I'll come back to you. Naveed cleverly didn't address, the question that I asked, okay, why aren't you hiring freshers? He clearly says they may study 5 years in architecture, 4 years as in engineering, so on, but then when I take them, they are of no help to me. Because they are not connected, they don't know what happens in the industry, so I have to waste, that's what he said, waste 1 year of my time trying to train them. Sir, please. I think you always say that there's a problem with the placements and so on.
I have
Tell
to
me where the
answer
problem
his question,
is.
sir.
Please, you can answer this question.
Just to add on, actually very beautifully Sajid sir has coined how the various departments are connected to the built environment. Sir has forgot to add 2 or 3 departments. All the things we have to put it in the cloud. Lot of data it generates. So everything we have to do it in building information modeling. Lot of data. It has to be posted in the platform. That has to be managed by computer science and IT peoples. During the facilities management, we will be using lot of sensors. So electronics and electrical engineers also come into the picture. So we have all that advantage in Crescent. So the beautiful idea of this actually built environment center is, if you bring all the details into a single platform, single building information modeling, after the construction, it will be handed over to the estate department. So estate department knows pinpoint what it has been happened in the 2 years of construction stage. So now if we integrate all the sensors into this, it is a continuous process. Now after the construction people, estate team will take forward this initiative. Every 3 months or 1 month, they will monitor. Accordingly, that BIM will give intervention or disruption when you have to do a repair, when you have to do a maintenance, and all these things. In that process, we can expect huge savings. So even if one particular building's 100% data we will have, we'll be continuously monitoring it over for a 50, 60 years. If we do it perfectly with data management, everything, it ensures lot of saving to the institution or the owner.
You still haven't answered my question.
So this one, actually, sir, in civil engineering or architecture,
Why are the students not getting employed?
actually, sir, the civil engineering, I can say that it contains a lot of subdisciplines. Suppose structural engineering, construction engineering management, soil engineering, geoinformatics, transportation. So lot of subdisciplines are there. We have to give all this knowledge in 4 years of time. 4 years of time. So sometimes it happens that we have to give holistic knowledge only to these students so that they will pick up. But now the time has came, we have to rethink. So in the Crescent now we have decided that, with the permission of Pro Chancellor sir, I can inform. So with the RICS, we are offering a construction management, RICS certified construction management program as a 2 course in the curriculum itself. So the 3rd year students pursue these courses. So in between they will go for internship. So we are very confident that after pursuing these 2 courses, they will get RICS certified ELP in construction project management. Slowly we are also willing to bring quantity surveying into this arena. Actually, the quantity surveying now we have in the curriculum as a course, even software with the cost checks we are teaching students. Still it needs some further bolstering. So definitely this course, 2 courses in the Crescent, we will be bringing it even from the January session. We are bringing these things.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
So that definitely we will fill this gap of the expected requirement of the industry. And
Yeah, I mean, if I may come in there. So what happens in the current system is, see, we all become amazing generalists. Are you all aware of the term generalists? We know a little bit about everything, right? That's great. I mean, it makes you kind of a bit of a wheeler dealer. In India, in North India, there's a word called jugaad, you know. So we're very good at jugaad. But what I would advise the students is, you need to pick up your interests very quickly. Yes, you've gone into built environment, you're a civil engineer or an architect or a mechanical engineer or whatever, but you need to pick up your interests very quickly and create a USP for yourself. See, as a consultant, I'm a brand, right? I mean, in Arcadis, we don't produce anything. We don't manufacture anything. We are a consultancy, right? So what is a consultancy? Consultancy is a group of people. We are 35, 40,000 people creating a $1 billion turnover company with people alone. So it's only knowledge that we are going and sharing with our clients, and that's what they're paying us for. So if I'm not able to give my client what they are wanting, then how will they pay us, right? So my advice to all the students or anybody who is working in the built environment consultancy is find your unique selling point. You can't say, I do everything. When somebody comes and tells me, I do everything, they've lost me then and there, right? Because you are a generalist. Yes, you can do everything, but then I can make this wall extremely well. I am the best in the world in doing that. If they say that, I'll have a lot of respect for them because wherever those walls are being built, I'll go to this person.
Thank you. Let me just, so I'll just conclude and then. So as Naveed said, you have to become a specialist, okay? As I said, the built environment, right from design till planning, till construction, and to operate, to facility management and all that, it's a whole lot of things. On the real estate side, you have to scout the land, you have to value the land, then you have to, once it's constructed, either you have to bring in tenants or you have to sell the, apartments or whatever. So these are all different skill sets. There you have, again, marketing, you have, customer resource management and so on. Now, RICS has 22 pathways, so pathways are skills, each skill set, right from project management to cost management, to facility management, real estate valuation, real estate sales, real estate finance, which is funding, and so on. So, right, the 22 different pathways are there. So they call these ELPs, Executive Learning Programs, which they give. So inshallah, next year in Crescent, this year rather, in January, we're coming up with project management and quantity surveying. And the next year, the new admissions, we are looking at integrating this into the curriculum itself so that the students will be involved in live projects instructed by RICS professionals. So which means from industry experts and so on. So by the time they finish their 4-year course, they'll be industry ready. Then I think Naveed won't have any excuse not to hire these engineers. So this is something that we are also coming up with. And so besides what we're going to give here, we're also in the School of Business, we are introducing real estate management as a separate course. So this year, in January, we're introducing real estate management as a specialization, but the coming academic year, we're going to introduce an MBA in real estate, as well as we're looking at also BBA in real estate. So you don't have to, do these courses separately. You can graduate and get into the business or get into the profession, right away. So that's the whole idea. And besides this, the center also will serve as kind of a consultancy group, with these group of professionals into that. And another thing is that, built environment sector is a lot of problems we solved. I think together, the entire sector has to come together to manage these problems. Thank you so much for your patience. And I hope you've learned something new here. So I think, please, all of you are welcome, whichever real estate professional you are or construction management professional you are. Welcome to the center. You can contact.
So actually from the RICS Center of Excellence for Built Environment, we will be offering the Executive Leadership Program in Construction Project Management for the industry peoples. For the industry peoples, it's only an online program. Spread over 6 months or 8 months. Only on Saturdays like that we will have some classes. That will be certified by RICS. So for the Crescent alumni,
There'll be a big discount.
Big discount. So I request all of you to avail this opportunity. I request sir to disseminate this to the alumni. So that will be, we are planning to start that program from the January itself. So I request all the alumni to support this and get benefited. It will be definitely benefit for the mid-level managers and even for the senior level people. It's the executive leadership program. Please.
Sorry, let Niranjan do the closing remarks.
No, it's Sajid. I was just trying to answer the question which you thought that they both have skipped. It's a short thing. See, the poor students or institutions, they are doing their part. It is more that the industry has to showcase the necessity of it and has to penetrate and infiltrate into it and try to make such programs. And I really, that's what we are doing now. And this is the need of the hour. And I really salute Crescent for taking this initiative. In my own city, when I'm having this coming up, I'm really excited because that's, all thanks to sir actually to have brought that here. Because I was always seeing Amity picking that up in the north and trying to do that. The reach was limited, to that geography. We have to do something over here was our dream. For almost RACS, for 10 years that I'm trying to push to get into institutions. In fact, I personally had my own intervention into IIT Madras and tried to do certain sessions to them. But again, believe me, the institutions has to support, though there should be a visibility that need to be created, which actually has happened over here. So it's an amazing opportunity for the students who can benefit by this, and there's a great benefit that people can undergo.
I don't know how many of you, we talked a lot, so maybe you'll be all getting ready to go and have coffee. But my father, Mr. B.S. Abdur Rahman, one of the early companies he started is East Coast Construction Industries. So construction is very much in our blood and so we were looking for how to make this everybody wants to go to AI, everybody wants to go to digital. So how do we make our young people to come into a sector which is struggling to get good people? Like he is telling, to get good students, they are struggling. So it's not glamorous, civil engineering is not glamorous. Architecture is not like that, but so, yeah. So when Sajid came, he is a RACS member for 15 years, I think, 18 years. So when Sajid came and told we have to get this Ashwin, is the managing director of RACS, and Ashwin came. He was a very serious guy, I'll tell you. It took me 1 hour to break through to him. Then he saw the intent in us, that we were willing to change the syllabus, we want to modify the thing, bring in all these groups, and then he got convinced, and then he convinced his people. So thank you, Sajid, for bringing, and IIT didn't do it, we are doing it, inshallah. Yeah, and we went to RACS London and we spent 1 day. It's a beautiful building. So any of you, we kept saying different things, but my thing is we are starting executive leadership program in 7 disciplines. We're offering that to 7. So it's 7 disciplines, and it is 10-month course. It's a 10-month course with only weekend, online weekend. So anybody who is alumni, who's working in the industry, a student who is studying a different thing, or our student, outside student, anybody can enroll. So it is 10 months, only on weekends. Also, I think if it's not mistaken, 2 hours they said or something. 3 hours on the weekends. So it's a very easy to do the course and avail of this opportunity.
Thank you.
Speakers who made the session engaging for us today. Thank you.